here at the world's most famous beach, Daytona Beach, Florida. Site of today's doubleheader between Southern University and Bethune-Cookman University. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to meet today's starting lineups. Here for game number 1, first for the visiting Jaguars from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Leading things off, playing second base, number 5, K.J. White. White, second base. Batting second today, serving as the designated hitter, number 2, Cardell Thibodeau. Thibodeau, the DH. Batting third today in left field for the Jaguars, number 26, Jalen Lucky. Lucky, left field. The cleanup hitter today in right field, number 20, Cameron Bird. Bird, right field. Batting fifth today at third base, number 10, Taj Bates. Bates at third base. Batting sixth in the order at first base, number 25, Dylan Jones. Jones at first base. Batting seventh behind the dish for the Jaguars, number 9, Xavier Bradley. Bradley, the catcher. Batting eighth, patrolling center field, number 21, Jacoby Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe, center field. Rounding out the batting order for the Jaguars, at shortstop, number 3, Benny McCarr. McCarr at shortstop. Your starting pitcher today for the Jaguars in game number 1, right-hander number 13, Niall Banks. Niall Banks, the starting pitcher for the Jaguars here in game number 1. Head coach of Southern University is Chris Crenshaw. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for your starting lineups for the Bethune-Cookman University Wildcats. Set to lead things off in left field, number 1, Gerald Lee. Lee, left field. Batting second, lane first base, number 36, Andre Martinez. Martinez, first base. Batting third today at third base, number 29, George Gonzalez. Bago. Bago at first base. The cleanup hitter is the designated hitter today, number 23, Jorge Rodriguez. Rodriguez, DH. That fifth at second base for the Cats, number 12, Jesus Venegas. Venegas, second base. Batting sixth in right field, number 14, Armani Newton. Newton in right field. Batting seventh today behind the dish for the Cats, number 22, Urban Escobar. Escobar, the catcher. Batting eighth today, playing shortstop, number 2, Cheater Poyedo. Poyedo at shortstop. Rounding out the batting order for the Wildcats in center field today, number 19, Daniel Rivera. Rivera in center field. Your starting pitcher here in game number 1, right-hander number 32, Joel Corey. Joel Corey, the starting pitcher for the Cats in game number 1. Head coach for Bethune-Cookman, Johnny Hernandez. Assistant coaches, Joel Sanchez, Derek Cartaya, and Hunter Allen. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please stand. Gentlemen, remove your caps. Veterans, you may cover as we honor this nation with the playing of our national anthem.
Are they on board yet, Mike? Should be. Am I crazy? I'm seeing 3.
Well, live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark here in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach. Let's play 2 today as the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats take on the Southern University Jaguars. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Turillo. Happy to have your company. And today I'm joined, we got a TriCast here at the booth today. Bryce Wodowski. Daryl Natil has jumped from football to baseball to join us here this afternoon. It's going to be a long day at the ballpark after a long night at the ballpark for us last night, Bryce. But Wildcats took game one. They got to take one today to win another SWAC series, and I think they can do it.
Yeah, it's quite the turnaround from what was probably your most emotional, maybe ups and downs of the season thus far last night. And it's important to remember when you come into a game like this, especially with 2 to play today, that you can't take many of those emotions with you today. You can't ride too high off of the win last night. You can't let some of the frustrations get in your head, because if we know anything from even just the way Southern approached the game last night, is they're going to be the same team at the plate that they were last night, back into the tournament in years past. They're going to swing the bat. And Joel Okore is a guy who's struggled a little bit in the early part of this year. Still, after a really strong start, has kind of lost his footing a little bit. They really need him to find it again, and this Southern lineup is not going to make it easy on him.
Daryl, you've been watching this team from afar this season. What have you made of it? A lot of offense. The pitching a little bit down than it's been in years past.
You know, this team is starting a little slow. You know, we're playing 500 baseball, but this Southern team, man, I was looking at their schedule. They've scored over 10 runs 10 times this season. So the Cats starting a little slow, but the pitching is beginning to pick up, and the bats are picking up. I'm anxious to see this kid Thibodeau.
I mean, Joel Corey, of course, top 30 in the nation in strikeouts, second in the conference right now, and he's played one less game than the people ahead of him, so he will likely rocket back up to the top of those standings. Corey coming into the day, a 6.55 ERA, 2-1 with 6 starts. In 33 innings pitched, he's given up 28 runs on 38 hits, 24 earned, striking out 45 and walking just 9. He's given up 4 doubles, 1 triple, 5 homers, and his opponents are batting .290 against him. KJ White stands in. The top 2 in this Southern order last night were unbelievable. White and Thibodeau. Corey righty to lefty. Here we go. Fastball, low ball 1. White last night, 5 at-bats, 4 runs, 3 hits, 1 walk. And Thibodeau behind him, 3 runs on 4 hits with 3 RBI.
This Thibodeau kid played in the HBCU All-Star game last year. He's a great find for them as he transferred from Louisiana Monroe last year.
So did KJ White, also played in the HBCU All-Star game. Corey struggling early behind 3 balls and no strikes. Corey's last 2 outings have not really been his best. In the 2 against Alcorn State and Jackson State, there's a strike. 2 balls and a strike, says the scoreboard. Just went 3 innings against Alcorn, gave up 6 runs on 7 hits. Of course, the Wildcats came back to win that game. 2-1. Strike, 2-2.
Good pitch on the outside corner.
And then against Jackson State last week, went 7 innings, but gave up 5 runs on 7 hits, but only 3 earned as the defense didn't really do the job behind him, as did the Wildcat defense last night with 5 errors. White stays alive, golfs 1 foul.
So the question is, who's on third and who's on first tonight?
So they've switched back to how it was previously and where they switched to last night. The Wildcat defensive order: Corey pitching, Escobar catching, Gonzalez-Fable at third, Poyeto at short. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Goodbye, KJ White, 1 down.
Pulled a string that time on a high off-speed pitch.
It's a nice comeback. I mean, it started really rough, and that's what's haunted Corey a lot in the last handful of starts, is getting behind in counts early. It's made his pitch count go up. It's allowed guys to get on base for free. That's the kind of stuff you got to tone down.
So here's Thibodeau coming into the weekend, batting .468.
This kid's playing at the next level for sure.
Top 5 in Division I for batting average, and on base percentage, and slugging percentage. Just unbelievable. His on base is .558. He's slugging .909. And again, he torched us last night, as that one finds the upper end part of the zone. Last night, as I mentioned, Thibodeau, 5 at-bats, 3 runs on 4 hits with 3 RBI. Breaking ball doesn't catch the inside part of the plate, but that's the kind of pitches that Corey is going to need to get some of those swing and misses.
This team hits the baseball. Like I said before, they've scored over 10 runs 10 times, 17 against FAMU.
And Corey is a strikeout pitcher as he evens up the count there with a little changeup.
Got to keep him off balance.
Corey has thrown 100-plus pitches twice this season as he gets Thibodeau to tip it into the glove, 2 away.
Better watch him walk back to the dugout. Maybe the last time we see that, huh?
That's the first time that Thibodeau has been out this series.
If you can limit the contact for Southern, I mean, how many times last night did we just hear the ting of the bat? If you can keep it away from them, I mean, they're going to swing at pitches. It's all about that deception, and, of course, we know Corey's got the stuff to mix it up really well.
Now here's Jalen Lucky batting .268. 11 runs on 11 hits, fouls 1 straight back. 3 doubles, a homer, and 16 RBI for Lucky. Corey from Orlando starts against UMass, Stony Brook, Maryland Eastern Shore, Florida Gulf Coast, Alcorn, and Jackson. And there's a swing and a miss, and Corey's way up in the count, 0-2.
You know, with the new setup, you know, it's the first time we're actually seeing Southern here in City Island Ballpark.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie Robinson.
City Island Ballpark.
You know I'm an old school guy. I'm
that's
sorry.
A throwback. That one low and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. It wasn't even City Island Ballpark when I was growing up.
No, I'm looking at the bridge, and it reminds me of the City Island Ballpark.
Mm-hmm. Corey trying to get out of the inning. Here's the 1-2. Off the end of the bat, sky-high pop right-hand side. That'll stay in the yard. Andre Martinez will be waved off by Jesus Venegas. 1-2-3 go the Jags. Southern nothing. Feels good to say that, doesn't it? Wildcats coming to bat in the bottom of the first here on the CatEye Network. Bottom of the first here at the Jack. Wildcats looking for some stability after a wild 11-10 win last night that saw 6 lead changes. Almost like a basketball style game. It is March Madness after all. Darrell Lee, a big part of this offense. Batting .381. 23 runs on 24 hits, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 4 homers, 20 ribbies.
Wow, D. Lee.
And he will base Niall Banks, the righty for Southern. He's got a real old school windup. He brings that arm all the way back by his belt buckle.
Little oil can board.
Misses with the first one, 1-0 to Lee. Lee fouls it back 1-1. Niall Banks is another one, like Corey, who's trying to bounce back from a couple of rough starts in conference play. His last 2 at Alabama State, 2 innings, 6 runs on 6 hits. And at Prairie View, 5 runs on 7 hits. That one caught the bottom of the zone. A ball and 2 strikes. Umpires tonight: Royce Morrison behind the plate, Kenneth Jackson at first, Vincent Cressier at third. Same crew as last night, just shuffled around. And Lee got punched out on the outside corner. 1 gone.
It'll be interesting to see how the approach at the plate, what it looks like tonight. I mean, it should be very similar to yesterday, at least after the first couple of innings. We really settle in, are willing to work those long at-bats. You know, swing at pitches you're supposed to, take the ones you're not. And Southern's bullpen is very thin once you get past the starter.
Over the last 2 games, Banks' ERA has ballooned from 6.50 to 10.80. Martinez in the air right field. Bird doesn't have to move. 2 away on 5 pitches. And this is the kind of inning you don't want to give to an opposing starter at the start of a doubleheader.
You want to make him work the count, you know. Last night they walked D. Lee to get to this guy right here, game winner.
Here's Jorge Gonzalez Febo. The Wildcats won on a walk-off last night. Andre Martinez single in the 9th down the left field line. But they're quickly 2 away here. Banks deals, blows the fastball by Febo at 90 miles an hour.
And your home run call, man, you had 4 adjectives in that thing, man. Daytona night sky. I was like, go ahead on, man.
Banks misses badly outside and low. He stands all the way on the left side of the pitching rubber. So that ball's going to break well away from righties into the opposite batter's box because it starts outside anyway. 1-1 to Febo. Spiked it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Febo on the season. Just 27 at-bats after starting the year on the DL. 7 runs on 9 hits, batting .333. 1 double, 4 RBI. And he stared at the 2-1. Pops it sky high. It'll go foul third base side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This is the kind of at-bat you want to see.
Yeah, you want to string it out a little bit, throw some pitches.
How many at-bats, Bryce, last night did have go 9, 10, 11 pitches on 2-1 or 2-2 counts?
It leads to success pretty consistently.
2-2. Fastball inside, missed it. Fastest pitch of anybody throwing so far today. 92 miles an hour. But it has gone pear-shaped and pear-shaped quickly for Banks. 3-2. Fouled away. Febo stays alive. Only 2 innings against Bama State and an inning and 2/3 against Prairie View, his last 2 outings. Wildcats hoping something similar happens today and they can race out to a lead. But there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. And Febo smacks it towards third. That'll get through and down the line, rattling into the corner. Febo's going to make the turn for second. The ball continues to rattle around. Lucky couldn't get to it, and it's going to be a stand-up double with 2 outs for Febo.
Yeah, that ball was smoked by the third baseman, and it bounced around down there in the bullpen. And stand-up double for the Cats with a runner on, 2 down.
Well, any at-bat you can put together like that, with 2 outs. It's easy to say, all seems lost. And then just like that, not only did the arm on the mound have to throw 8 to 10 more pitches, but now you've got very much a threat here to go in front early with just 2 away.
And one of the right guys to do it, Jorge Rodriguez up at bat. Rodriguez hit the towering home run to left field last night, but other than that, didn't do much, went 1 for 5.
Yeah, he turned on that pitch, around. Dink!
Oh, yeah.
I knew it was gone, man, as soon as he hit it.
You probably could hear that from the bridge. We've seen a couple of no-doubters at the Jack this season, something we're not really used to seeing. Usually they're just creeping over the wall. Febo on second with 2 down after the double. Strike, the knees, fastball, 88.
I think we'll talk later about moving over to Sanford, what that'll do to the ball club, playing on grass and real dirt.
We talked about it a little bit last night after Sergio Rivera was caught stealing because he slid past the bag. The turf just took him. 0-1, breaking ball missing upstairs at the letters. Wildcats in the maroon, the Gold Wildcats with white trim, gold numbers, white trim, and a gold stripe on the sleeve. Southern, the all gray. Southern in black letters on the front in navy blue numbers. Nice looking matchup this afternoon. The 1-1. Rodriguez fouls it back, and it's 1-2. He was way out ahead of that one. So I've seen fastball change curve from Banks so far.
Another breaking ball right here.
A ball and 2 strikes. A beautiful day for baseball. Upper 60s, partly cloudy. Almost no wind to speak of. Banks from the stretch. Fabo waits on second. Here's the 1-2. Fabo goes to third. It's a swing and a miss, but the ball hops away from Bradley, the catcher. Now coming home is Lee. They throw to the plate. The ball gets away again. And the Wildcats are on the board.
Yeah, the ball was spiked in the dirt, and the pitcher just stood there and watched it. The catcher slid in front of our dugout, had nobody to throw to.
And again, that's where you give credit to the at-bat before. I mean, it's very easy to shut that inning down and to give up onto the next, but you put a good at-bat together, you put a runner on, and then a little bit of chaos happen, a little bit of luck, and just like that, you're on the board.
That's called strikeout wild pitch. Fabo scoring. I don't think they gave an error. The official score did not give an error, so I won't either. I'll just say wild pitch. But anyway, 1-0 Wildcats, and all this has been manufactured with 2 outs. The batter is Jesus Vanegas, who swings and chops it right back in front of the plate. Banks throws to first to end the inning, but 1 run on a hit. And the Wildcats take a 1-0 lead into the second here on the CatEye Network. One 0 Wildcats. We go to the second. Cameron Bird leads off for Southern. In the top of the first, Southern went 1-2-3 for the first time in this series. They got at least 1 runner on every inning last night as the Wildcats won a thriller. 11-10. Joel Corey misses outside with a fastball to Cameron Bird. Bird hits one in the air, left field. Sizing it up, making in, diving. Oh, what a catch! Darrell Lee flashing the leather. He was completely fooled. He thought that was going over his head. He had to pivot, dive for it, and he came up with the ball 1 away.
Sometimes you can make up in athleticism what you might have lacked a little bit of instincts off the bat. It's certainly refreshing to see some of those plays go the other way from a Wildcats team that defensively was a little bit of an adventure last night.
Oh, I mean, the 5 errors on the infield. How much of that do you credit to the shuffling around? Because all 4 of the 5 errors were plays either third or first.
Yeah, you can't just isolate, two swap defenders. It's more than that.
That one in the air left field. Lee chasing, on the move, got it again. Wow. Darrell Lee, 2 nice plays. And there's 2 away as Taj Bates flies out.
So there's no flag out, so you can't tell which way the wind's blowing.
I tried to use the tops of the trees out there. But
Jones.
making the
First base.
assumption that it's blowing out towards left field as it has been the last couple of weeks. The wind here, most of the season has been very different than it has the last couple of years. And I'm not sure if that's the cold front that's been
El
coming
Niño.
through. Because usually, once we get to the later part of the season, that wind whips off the water in from right center. Corey behind 0-2 to Dylan Jones, the first baseman, who had one of the better first base defensive plays I've seen last night to keep the Wildcats off the board in the 7th. Big cut and miss.
You're
That's
talking about
11.
I'm talking about the weather. It's been cool since Florida Classic.
It has. It's been unseasonably cool this spring here in Daytona Beach. But I was about to say, Corey takes 11 mile-an-hours off from fastball to changeup. That's really tough to hit, especially out of the hand when it looks like the fastball.
Push that ball back into his heel of his hand. Same motion. Little technology change right here.
Yeah, we're going to change the pitch comm on the catcher, Irvin Escobar. It's so different being a catcher nowadays.
One's fastball, two's the curve. Wiggle it for the changeup.
Yeah, it's like the old, Simon Says toys back when you were a kid that do the little beeping noises that you got to press them, right?
Bop it. I had those when I was growing up. And now they're going to bring Corey off the mound. All sorts of nonsense going on.
If you swap one, you got to swap the other.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of years ago, we had the one that was in the hat that you can hear the coach, calling the plays. Now,
I think in professional you can still use that, but I'm not sure you can use it in college. Anyway, it's all over my head. When I was playing, we used number signs. The coach would call it from the dugout. That's all we had.
you touched your face mask, that was a fastball. You touched the catcher's chest mask, and curveball. Swipe the dirt.
Yeah. Don't miss Hail Wildcats Radio, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of all 15 Wildcat sports programs. Hosted by voice of the Wildcats, Michael Torello, featuring the expertise of sports information directors Bryce Wynowski and Brian Harvey. Hail Wildcats Radio delivers unparalleled coverage of your favorite teams. Tune in to 1380 WELE every Saturday to catch the show live or anytime on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor. We're on all of them. New episode out today.
You guys are kind of robbing the pivot, man. You guys are pretty good on there. I'm listening.
We got the thing flowing now. 27 episodes coming up this week.
And Brian Harvey, man, that guy can talk, man.
We get yelled at every week because we go too long by our producer.
2 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. Up and in, missed with the change again. 3 balls and a strike. The count to Dylan Jones. Jones, the first baseman, batting .262. 3-1. Missed it. Ball 4. First base runner for Southern in the contest is a 2-out walk. You talk about the Wildcats scratching one across with 2 outs in the last inning, and Southern is the team that will do it to you every time you let them get an inch.
Now batting for the Jaguars, catcher number 9, Xavier Bradley.
Southern reminds me a lot, stylistically, of the Jackson State team that the Wildcats eventually fell to in the semifinals of the SWAC tournament last year. Will just pressure you every time. Defense, offense, pitching, doesn't matter. Corey, breaking ball. Check swing. He went around for strike 1. I will say the home plate umpire, Royce Morrison, has a glacial strike call. He took 4 or 5 seconds to ring Xavier Bradley up that time. Bradley, the catcher, didn't play last night behind the plate. Breaking ball misses low and inside. Last night, the catching job was handled by Richard Grace, who started by catching his brother, Renard Grace. And that's the first time I think I've seen that in college baseball. Very rare.
Serious battery right there.
1-1. Check swing, dribble foul, first base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wildcats come into today 13-13, 6-1 in the SWAC, tied with Florida A&M atop the conference standings. Grambling State a half game back. Southern 2-5 in the conference after just winning 1 out of 3 from both Alabama State and Prairie View. They have had a tough schedule to start off conference play. Here's the 1-2 from Corey. Big cut and miss. Way out in front of the 12-6 curve, and that'll end the inning on the third strikeout for Joel Corey. No runs, no hits, one left. We go to the bottom of the second, 1-0 Bethune-Cookman here on the CatEye Network. Bottom two here at the Jack. First of a doubleheader here today between BCU and Southern. BCU one up in the series.
For the Wildcats, number 14, right fielder
Armani Newton, who came in and pitch hit last night, gets the start in right field this afternoon.
And his parents sitting right in front of us.
Newton, the transfer from Florida Gulf Coast. The numbers don't pop off the page. 180 is batting average. First pitch from Banks, fastball outside. 61 at bats. He's got 16 runs on 11 hits, 2 doubles, 4 homers, 9 RBI. He started the year scorching hot, but has cooled way off. 2 balls, no strikes. His on-base percentage down at .320, Armani Newton.
We've hit the long ball better this year than I've seen in a few years.
Fastball down the middle, 2-1. Yeah, the Wildcats, 25 home runs so far this year. Does that eclipse what they've had all of last year?
Definitely.
That includes the playoffs now to this point. They had 14 in the regular season last year, the whole regular season.
What I'm saying.
This makes me wish that we were still at Georgia Tech for the tournament, because I want to see what this team would do to baseballs in that short porch.
I mean, they were built in a lot of ways for that park. I mean, Coach has told us that. Got the late switch up, but the power is clearly translated.
That one is driven to right field. Back towards the wall goes Bird. He leaps, and it's out of here. How about home run number 26 on the season for Bethune-Cookman and 5 on the year for Armani Newton.
Did we dial that one? We dialed that one.
Amigos.
We dialed that one up. We were talking about the home run ball, and he just yanked it over to the old tennis courts.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of guys, 3 or 4 guys, kind of trading leads on this team in the home run category. Armani Newton now back on top with 5. It's crazy how many different guys have that kind of wall power in a park that is just not forgiving for those kind of power hitters.
And now it's Irvin Escobar. Watches one low. Escobar had a triple last night that looked like it might have home run power for a second when it left the bat. We talk about Niall Banks, who's been roughed up in his last 2 starts. Thought he was through the first inning, but then gave up a hit and then a couple of errors, let a run score, and now he gives up the tank to Armani Newton. Escobar batting .264. And he rockets that one down the left field line. That could be extra bases. That's going to the wall. Escobar's on his horse. He's headed for second. He's in there sliding safely.
Double for Escobar.
Nice slide, too, because get the pop-up. He didn't go past the base.
The start for the Wildcats today looks a lot like the start for Southern last night. They're just barreling up everything, Bryce.
And it all is in favor of the Wildcats. I mean, we talked about it. Southern's bullpen is so thin. They're going to have a long leash for Banks out there. Of course, he hasn't quite imploded by any means yet, but with it kind of starting to teeter that way or trend in that direction, you're going to have the opportunity to put up a good 4 or 5 more before they really think about going to the pen with another game to follow this afternoon.
Now a runner on second, nobody out for Jeter Poyero, the Wake Forest transfer. Poyero last night, just 1 hit in 5 plate appearances. Was stranded twice. On the season, Poyero batting .243, 11 runs on 17 hits. 3 doubles, 3 triples, a homer, and 19 ribbies. Got a chance for another one with Escobar waiting on second. And he dribbles it foul third base side 0-1.
They used to call it the Budweiser bullpen. Now it's the Yingling bullpen.
That's the turtle's nest. Yeah.
On the Turtles.
Well, that's
right
a more
here.
generic term.
Yeah. I've sat and watched the game out there a couple times. It's not a bad
It's
place.
a great atmosphere.
We flirted with having to broadcast games out there last year when we had no roof and we had to find somewhere that had cover if it rained.
We had to do, what, 3 games out there?
Oh, man, it was brutal.
Guys been all over this place.
It was brutal.
The 0-1. Poyero watches a bouncer to the plate. I mean, last year, of course, the ongoing renovations to the Jack, if you notice out beyond the center field wall, there's no batter's eye right now. There's a bunch of...
That's the difference. Those
well,
those 4 towers out there.
yeah, that's where the batter's eye is supposed to be. But stage 2 of the renovations here at the Jack well underway. New clubhouse, new batting cages, new offices for both BCU and the Tortugas. Low and away.
Going to have offices here?
That's the plan.
Wow.
But and the last 2 years it's been difficult because we've had to deal with all the nonsense from the city and the contractors and all that. But just a 2-1 from Banks, way outside and low 3-1. But in the end, it's all going to be worth it because it'll be a beautiful ballpark.
I was talking to the city manager, and he's ecstatic about what's happening here, and he wants to host SWAC baseball if you get the Tortugas on the road that week.
The problem is the press box, which they're not touching, which is the biggest gripe
and
that I have.
the other problem is back week, too.
3 balls, 1 strike. Poyero way out in front of what would have been ball 4. And it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. And selfishly, I enjoy the travel of a baseball tournament weekend, and I would miss a little bit of that if it was here.
So it's back in Birmingham?
It is back in Birmingham at Rickwood Field this year, so I'm looking forward to. 3-2 Banks to Poyero. Escobar waits on second, nobody out. And, whew, that barely caught the end of the bat to stay alive for Jeter. I am going to miss going to Georgia Tech. Nice little setup out there. They really treated us well. 1 already in the inning off the leadoff Armani Newton home run over right field. 2-0 Wildcats here in the bottom of the second. Long look in from Banks, under 10 seconds on the pitch clock. Now he'll come home with it. And a ball escapes the bullpen out there. We've got somebody going ham with a cowbell. I'm not sure where they are.
I've been trying to look for it for the last 4 or 5 pitches. I can't find them.
Sound like we down in Miami at the Mars ballpark.
It does a little
boy,
bit.
They used to do it to Trop, too. It was the worst. I hate the cowbell.
Or Mississippi State.
Yep.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Walk to Poyero in this first and second with nobody out. And the batter is Sergio Rivera.
And we'll remind you, no artificial noise makers allowed during the game.
It's funny because Brian Harvey, who's doing PA, it's right down in front of us, guy in the blue hat. And he's still doing it even after he was told to stop. We'll probably have to go over there between innings as we've got a visit to the mound. And already somebody warming up in the Southern bullpen, and just after an inning and a third.
The guy in a Devil Rays hat.
Yep.
I'm surprised Southern's warming somebody up. I mean, sure, we saw with Alcorn last week. This is certainly a better bullpen, even on paper, than Alcorn was. But with another one coming, I mean, it might just be due diligence in the event of something really bad. But you got a long way to go.
Are you sure about that? Outside of Peyton Huff with a 4.40 ERA, it gets pretty dicey pretty quick. Prosper, 7. Vasquez 9, Coates 12, Oliver 13, Tolbert 15. It doesn't get much better going down the bottom of the order in that bullpen.
The one thing that made Alcorn different in particular is just the velocity or the lack thereof in that case. Made it pretty easy to tee off.
Squaring to bunt as Sergio Rivera takes low ball 1. Darryl, you've been out here with me at a couple of these long doubleheaders, and what's the benefit of jumping on top early like this, especially with a long day ahead?
Staying off that bullpen mound and using those arms in the second game.
Big cut and miss by Rivera.
And putting pressure,
yeah,
on the other team like they're doing right now.
The corners are way in for Southern, so there's a massive gap on the third base side if Rivera can pull one. Count is 1-1. Banks trying to work out of this 2-on nobody out jam. Rivera squares to bunt again. He pulls it back, ball 2. And that's been the problem for Banks. I mean, he's got the speed on his pitches. He's just been nowhere near the strike zone on a lot of them. And then the ones that are in the strike zone are middle, and the Wildcats are barreling it up.
First time I ever seen the dog served at the ball game. Dog getting water.
2 balls, 1 strike to Banks. Here's the pitch. Rivera bunts it, foul, 2-2. We saw the rare bunt foul strike 3 last night. It was Sergio Rivera.
He might be the one guy on this BCU roster, I think, that they would even trust to attempt a bunt with 2 strikes. Just didn't go their way last night.
And, of course, Banks still has all the time in the world to settle this down. It's only 2-0. So the noisemaker now has changed from a cowbell to a shaker. There's a little kid down there with the shaker. Breaking ball. Not sure where that missed, but umpire Royce Morrison said it was outside. The count is 3 balls and 2 strikes. That's a really tough take by Rivera.
That was a little high, I think. A little high.
Wildcats threatening to make this one ugly early. Banks from the stretch, the 3-2. Rocketed foul. So Rivera, just like I said, tried to pull it down the third base line, just a little bit out ahead of that changeup.
Yeah, he has a gap in left center, too. Huge gap.
Yeah. Escobar on second after his double. Poyeto on first after the walk. All that after the leadoff home run by Armani Newton here in the second. 2-0 Wildcats. Once again, the payoff. Runners go. Rivera fouls it away.
I feel like that was a much of a protection swing on a full count as you can get. I mean, that ball was way in on the hands.
Yeah. He could take it for ball 4, but we've already seen that there's been a wide strike zone so far today, especially Darrell Lee probably went back to the dugout and said, hey, guys, we got to swing because this strike zone's pretty big.
That's one mound visit.
Yeah. Already the second in the inning after the coach came out and talked to him. They've sat whoever it was pitching for Southern in the bullpen. They've sat him down. Once again, for the third time, we'll do the payoff. 3-2 pitch from Banks to Rivera. 2-on, nobody out here in the second. Runners go, ball 4 low. Great at bat by Sergio Rivera. And now the bases are loaded, and here's Darrell Lee, top of the order. Struck out his first time up looking.
Left fielder number 1, Darrell Lee.
If you look at the race for the team lead at RBI, Darrell Lee tied with Jorge Rodriguez at the top for 20. Could take the lead right here. Right at a lefty, Banks deals. Low ball 1.
That's a lot of RBIs for a leadoff hitter.
It is. Well, that's because the bottom of the order,
getting on base,
especially Poyeto and Rivera the last 2 weekends, have been so good at getting on.
And I credit that a lot to Darrell Lee's presence at the top. When you've got that guy coming up, especially with no outs like it is now, can't pitch around those guys. You got to find ways to get them out.
Lee watches one upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. And this now is starting to remind me of the UMES series where Hawks couldn't find the strike zone for a lot of it.
take a lot more than this to remind me of that.
That's
I still
very-
get nightmares about that game.
That's very true.
That was crazy.
2 balls, no strikes. Now 3 balls, no strikes. Fastball misses low. I was talking to some of the guys on the way out last night as I was headed to my car, and I said, please, guys, lay off the dramatics for tomorrow. I don't know if I have any much voice left. 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk. Well, there's an RBI,
yeah.
for Darrell Lee. 3 straight walks after the double. Escobar scores from third. Poyeto goes to third. Rivera to second. And that might be it for Banks already here in the second inning.
Well, long way to go.
Well, you know I got stories, right?
Oh, yeah. That's why you're up here.
We played these guys in the Urban Classic in California a few years ago. Well, about 10 years ago. Bethune-Cookman and Southern, and UCLA and USC were the matchups. We played Southern and we played USC. Southern played us and they played UCLA. But the crazy thing about it was the Pride and the 2 bands were brought out and they performed in between games.
I would love to see marching bands at baseball. I know some schools do it. Some of the SEC schools do it. But that would be great.
Only issue with this venue in particular is if you had the band out here, until we can get some big crowds to kind of suppress the noise a little bit.
It would be loud.
It would be too loud. I mean, how many times do we have to tell the music up top that, hey, listen, without a full ballpark, the stuff echoes off the seats and everything, and it doesn't fill the space, so it gets a little much. But yeah, no, it would be incredible. I mean, the first SWAC school to do it, or the first HBCU to do it, would be a big pump of publicity. It'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if the SWAC has considered the idea at all for the tournaments. I mean, it's with baseball, it's so late that a lot of kids are out of school at that point, and it makes it a little bit more of a difficult proposition. But I mean, we saw how great it was at the basketball tournament just last week. I don't know if it's something that they've at least considered in any way of requesting bands to show up, but it would be a lot of fun.
The Alabama A&M head baseball coach was the left fielder for Southern then, because I talked to him about it last season when we played them. I remembered his name, and he was the left fielder. And my friend, the head coach at Southern, is one guy I always talk about. He was the head coach, and he was really ripping BCU because we had Spanish ball players. So that was crazy, man.
Well, now everybody's got it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the norm now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even on the teams that come here to play us, we see guys from Hialeah and Cuba and
Merville was the coach back then, and I think we won both. I think we lost to USC by a run, but we beat Southern.
The new pitcher for Southern is the sophomore from New Orleans, Louisiana, Genesis Prosper. Prosper, a .698 earned run average for the lefty. 19 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up 16 runs on 29 hits, 15 earned, and he's got the bases loaded with nobody out. And swinging away is Andre Martinez, who flied to right his first time up. Strikeout 14, walked 9 as Prosper. And Andre Martinez is batter number 101 that Genesis has faced this season. And so Prosper, without Tolbert, figures to be their top arm out of the bullpen today. So they really think they want to salvage this game, and we know that Southern can hit the ball and no lead is safe. We said that last night when the Wildcats stormed back, took a 4-run lead, and eventually had to walk it off in the 9th. Bases loaded, nobody out. And Martinez wanted to hammer that breaking ball, but just taps it foul right at his feet, a ball and 2 strikes. We've got Poyeto on third, Rivera on second, and Lee on first, all via the walk. And 2 already in the inning. That has forced Southern into this change from Banks to Prosper. He's ahead of Martinez 1-2. The lefty from the stretch checks the runners, deals. Breaking ball, chopped towards short, could be 2. Flip to short for 1. Back to first, not in time. So it'll be a fielder's choice, an RBI for Andre Martinez. Scoring from third is Poyeto. Rivera goes to third. Darrell Lee out on his way from first to second, and there's one away in the inning, and there's runners at the corners. 3-0, Bethune-Cookman.
No lead safe.
No.
But it is games like this where you start to maybe see the ceiling of what this Southern program could be at this point, which is, yeah, they've got the bats. They're going to terrorize you a little bit. They're going to continue to put guys on, move guys up. But when your pitching staff lags behind, anytime you face a more higher-end pitching staff, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Correction, it is 4-0, not 3. My apologies. Slider strike. First pitch to Jorge Gonzalez-Febo. Febo doubled down the third baseline, scored on a wild pitch back in the first inning to open the scoring for Bethune-Cookman. And he comes up one away. Rivera on third. Martinez on first after his fielder's choice. Martinez goes to second. Big swing and a miss. Febo down 0-2. A stolen base for Martinez, and now runners on second and third.
No, foul ball.
Oh, foul ball.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think on the call there would be for Febo to lay off and let Martinez take second. But now it's 0-2. Prosper looking to escape a pretty big jam here. Potential for a double play to end the inning. Febo grounded to third, picked up. Oh, it's bounced off the shortstop's glove and everybody's safe. It bounced off of Bates's glove, the third baseman. Bakar, the shortstop, had to pick it up, and by the time he threw to first, everyone was safe. It was a rocket right at Bates at third, and another run comes in for the Wildcats, 5-0 as Rivera crosses home plate.
Well, and everything that felt like it was terrorizing BCU last night, all the little bad hops or whatever you want to call it, all flipped the other way. That's a really tough play to make. Don't take a ton away from the Southern defense there, but that's just the kind of little things that kind of turn a bad inning into a much worse one.
We'll give an infield single there for Martinez. So Prosper pitches backwards. He's got the breaking ball, and then the hard stuff up and in to try and close guys out. His breaking ball sitting in the upper 70s.
That's BP speed.
Well, and if he lives one middle, these Wildcats are going to really start hammering. First and second, 1 out, already 4 in the inning here in the second. Has forced a Southern pitching change. Prosper deals. That time he went with the heat, turned it up to 85. He got a swing and a miss from Jorge Rodriguez, who struck out his first time up, but reached on a wild pitch and was stranded on first. I think that's the first time we've had that this season, where a drop third strike doesn't result in an out. Prosper up 0-2 on Jorge. Rodriguez, soft tapper back to the pitcher. They'll go to first. Oh, it's bobbled, and safe is Rodriguez, and there's the first error officially of the game. Wow, the Southern infield imploding here in the second inning.
That's still a close play. I'm not sure if we had the benefit of replay out here, which of course we don't. It almost felt like he's still able to recover, pick the ball back up with the foot still on the bag, but a tough play to make in real time. Just eats up Jones a little bit at first.
I think the first baseman just gave up on it once he dropped it, making sure it didn't go into the foul territory.
So now the bases are loaded again. Martinez on third, Febo on second, Rodriguez on first. The batter is Jesus Venegas, the 9th batter of the inning, with only 1 out and 4 in already. And Prosper bounces one to the plate. And we talked about Tanner Bocabello last night, Bryce, being hard done by his infield. Prosper and Banks have to now feel the same way, because they should be out of this inning by now.
Baseball finds a way to even all the odds.
1-0 to Venegas, who grounded out softly back to the pitcher his first time up. That ended the first. And he's ahead 2 balls, no strikes. The Wildcats from here, after the doubleheader today, will go to South Florida on Tuesday. That's a CatEye Network radio broadcast at 6 p.m. And then off to Sanford for a home, quote-unquote, series. That's a big cut and miss. It seems like the Wildcats, Darryl, are a little bit behind a bit of the slower speed from Prosper.
Yeah, this guy's throwing BP speed, and we just got to adjust from the last pitcher.
2 balls, 1 strike. Base is loaded, 1 out. Venegas in the air to center field. That is going to drop in for a base hit. Scoring from third is Martinez. Right behind him is Febo. 7-0 Bethune-Cookman, 2 RBI single for Venegas.
Well, I told our compatriot Brian Harvey up before this game, sitting in the press box as we waited to start. I said, it feels to me that one of these two games today will end via a run rule, whether that's for Southern or whether it's for BCU. It kind of feels like the way that last night went, the way both of these bullpens used some of their arms last night, that it could trend that way. And we are well on our way here to getting out of this first game early.
Well, the Wildcats have batted around. Here's Armani Newton, who took Banks deep to right field to begin the second inning. 6 in the frame for the Wildcats.
These two games are scheduled for 9, right? Or 7?
Yes, they're nine innings. Shoot, we haven't had a 7-inning doubleheader in a couple years out here.
Since the COVID season, right? Newton chops one foul first base side. He's behind 0-2. If you look at Prosper's strikeout to walk numbers, 14 strikeouts and 9 walks, that's low in 19 and a third innings pitched. So a lot of stuff goes in play. He's a pitch to contact type guy. And if the Wildcats are A, barreling it up like Venegas did, or B, Southern's defense are making mistakes like they have been, it might be a long afternoon. And I think they're going to let Prosper ride. In the 3 pitches we have pitch data for Prosper, 63, 95, and 80, all out of the bullpen were his pitch numbers.
Shaking off a lot of pitches out there. You can see just kind of a lack of confidence or trust in what he's got.
Newton rockets one back where it came from up the middle. There's a base hit. On his horse scoring from second is Rodriguez. Venegas cruises into third. An RBI single for Newton, and it's 8-0.
You just can't take a break against anybody in this Wildcats lineup. And that's really been one of the biggest differences between last year's team and this year's team, is there's nobody. I mean, you're talking about Sergio Rivera batting in the 9th spot. That was one of your top 4 last year pretty consistently. And so Armani Newton is just another one where you cannot, doesn't matter if it's 1 through 4 or 5 through 9, there's not one guy that you can take your foot off the gas. They'll put it in play, they'll work walks. They are so deep.
Here's Irvin Escobar, who doubled down the left field line earlier in this inning, and then that was his first time up. Ended up coming home to score on the walk to Darrell Lee. That was the last batter that Banks faced. Still a long way to go in this one, only the second inning. And it feels like we've been here forever already. Here's the 1-0 from Prosper to Escobar. Irvin in the air center field. That one's going to hang up in the wind. Radcliffe coming on, loses his hat, makes the catch, but it'll do the job. Trotting in from third is Venegas.
Irv gets the RBI.
So now there's 2 away in the frame, but the Wildcats
Bethune-Cookman shortstop, number 2,
have played an 8 in the second, and it is 9-0. The batter is Jeter Poyeto for the second time in this inning. I'm going to have to look back at that UMES 30-5 game. Is this the best inning we've had all year? Runner goes, ball pops out of the glove of Bradley, so an easy stolen base for Armani Newton.
So we scored 10 in 1 inning against them?
We did. In the 4th inning, we had 10 against UMES.
Okay.
Yep.
So one more, and we would tie that. Which, if you think there was a team that we would tie that record against, I would not have said Southern. I would have said Alcorn or maybe Pine Bluff. 1-0. Off the end of the bat. That's just a seeing eye single down the first base line.
He might get 2 out of that.
He will get 2 as that ball's a slow roller to Bird in right field. He'll replace Newton, who scores from second. And look at that, we got 10 runs in the inning.
Double for Poyeto.
It's batting practice right now.
Yeah, there's nothing more that Coach Hernandez, this Wildcat staff, the guys in the dugout would love to do than to get this one in, get this one out. You run rule the first, you save some arms, sets you up even better for the next game as Southern kind of tries to find an answer out of the pen. But like you said, they're going to let Prosper ride it out. I mean, no help is coming anytime soon, and how many times did we say that in the Alcorn series? I mean, these SWAC West schools, they don't prioritize the bullpen or they struggle to recruit the bullpen. It's pretty consistent. I mean, it is downhill and fast once you get out of that starting rotation.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Is that because of the location of the schools? And it's hard to get kids to come out in Mississippi or areas like that?
Well, it's certainly harder than here, and with places like Alcorn State, Mississippi Valley, there's a lot more of that goes into it. For a school like Southern, I don't know. I mean, it's different. I think a lot of these guys come up in that Mississippi baseball or that kind of South different area than here. I mean, Florida's such a luxury we take so far for granted.
But Baton Rouge, man, who wouldn't want to live in Baton Rouge, man?
I mean, the food's pretty good, as we found out when we went there last year. Well, last year for football.
If LSU's any indication, location only goes so far. I mean, they do a pretty good job over there. Of course, they got a lot more than just location to offer.
Ground ball softly hit toward third. That will go foul.
I just think the style of play is much different. We came from the MEAC and pitching, and you had North Carolina A&T, Coppin State. Those guys had great pitching staff. North Carolina Central. I think coming from the MEAC, we always had great pitching and bullpens.
Definitely. It feels like Alabama State is the only school that once we've joined the SWAC feels kind of like FAMU and BCU do.
Alabama State coaches are Bethune-Cookman grads.
Exactly
they are.
Right. Exactly right. So there's where you see that. Everybody else, you're absolutely right. The SWAC is a very different way to play the game.
You look at the Alabama State coaching staff. Oh, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M. Shout out to Bailey Greenlee, by the way, who's an assistant coach with the Bama State baseball team this year.
And softball, starter for them for 3 years, I think.
Yeah. Count is 1-1 on Sergio Rivera, the 13th batter of this second inning. 9 of them have scored. Still 2 outs with Poyeto on second after his RBI double down the first base line. Breaking ball misses outside. And that's what you can't do if you're Prosper. You can't walk the ice. Let them put it in play if the defense can't handle it, that's their own fault. But you're a pitch-to-contact guy, and these pitches that are missing outside or low, they aren't close. Like that. That's not close. That's an easy one to lay off of for Sergio Rivera, who walked his first time up, by the way, which was earlier in this inning, and it feels like 2 hours ago. Count is 3-1. Prosper in danger of walking Rivera and extending the inning again. Prosper checking Poyeto back at second. That one's fouled away. Heads up coach Hernandez. Had a little bit of a funny moment last night when a foul ball hit that way. Almost found our social media director, Autumn Sander, who was standing out there taking pictures. We got our lead photographer Romeo here today. He's prowling around doing the same thing. He's got to watch out.
Yeah. Always dangerous. At least here, right? The dugout's a little further away, so you have a second.
Chopper back to Prosper, who stretches to get it. He'll throw to first. And finally, the Wildcats are retired. 9 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, 1 left. And we go to the third inning, 10-0 Bethune-Cookman here on the CatEye Network. Back at the Jack with BCU Wildcats baseball. We go to the third inning. The Wildcats put a 9 spot up in the bottom of the second and lead 10-0 over Southern. And now, if you're Joel Corey, Bryce, the job is let's get out of this early. Do not give Southern a chance to get back in this.
Yep, do what you got to do to get there. Work to contact, stay ahead in counts. You want to get out early.
The speedy center fielder, Jacoby Radcliffe, bats now. Last night, Radcliffe 1 for 4 with a walk. That one hit was a triple to deep right center field. He tries to bunt and bunts it off his foot, and it goes foul. 0-2 the count on Corey. Corey through the first 2 innings, just 29 pitches, so if he continues to be efficient, he might give the bullpen a lot of rest here in this first game of the doubleheader. That's the name of the game, right? I mean, you want to save as many arms as possible for the nightcap. Because just on numbers, as that one's up and in ball 1, the arms coming out of the Wildcats pen don't look a whole lot better than the ones coming out of the Southern pen.
I would argue they do look a whole lot better. They just might not be great in the grand scheme.
That was a close pitch there.
That was close, but it's 2-2. I'll say that they are close on paper, but they are not close in caliber of opposition. So that one buckles Radcliffe. I mean, if you look at Southern's non-conference schedule, I use non-conference with big air quotes. You got Texas Southern, Grambling State, and Prairie View at the Cactus Jack. Then Jackson State, Florida A&M at the Andre Dawson. That one grounded to second. Oh, it bounces off the glove of Venegas. And Radcliffe is going to be safe. That's what you can't start doing. That's what killed you last night. Looks like a routine play. And Venegas just
The batter, shortstop, number 3.
a little bit ahead of it, credited as an error. So 1 on, nobody out. Here's Benny Bakar, who was really good last night in the 9 spot.
He's a Florida kid.
2 hits, 2 RBI, a walk, and 2 runs scored.
Sebring,
Bakar last
Florida.
night. But of course, he's batting in the 9 spot ahead of White and Thibodeau at 1-2, who are just unbelievable. And just because you got through them once doesn't mean you're going to get through them cleanly again. 1 ball, no strikes.
Ground ball DP right here.
We'd like that, wouldn't we? Or a throwback to first. Last night, 2 of the Wildcats' 5 errors were on pickoff attempts to first. It just bounced away from, at the time, Jorge Gonzalez-Febo, who was playing first base before Martinez and him swapped to the corner infield. Runner goes. Escobar throws down to second. Off. The catch had been better from Poyeto. Might have had a shot at it, but Poyeto missed the ball. A stolen base for Radcliffe.
Southern's built around speed,
Oh, yeah.
not the bullpen.
Triples, doubles, stolen bases. They're top 5 in the nation in stolen bases. Reminds me of last year, right, when Mississippi Valley came in here, top of the SWAC, top of the nation in stolen bases. 3-0 now from Corey to Bakar. Strike on the inside corner, 3-1.
Maybe the hour layoff, hurt the pitcher.
Maybe. 3-1 now from Corey with Radcliffe on second. Stride just caught the base of the zone with the fastball.
Come right back with that same pitch.
Now the count runs full, but do you go with the fastball or do you go with the breaking ball where you've gotten your 3 strikeouts?
Fastball, ground ball to second base.
Corey the payoff. He went with the fastball, and it's a ground ball to second base. Venegas, from his back foot, makes the play. Mr. Profit over here, Darryl Natil. Radcliffe does go to third. Runner on third, 1 down.
Second baseman, number 5, K.J. White.
And now it's the top of the order for K.J. White. As a reminder of what they did last night, between White and Thibodeau, 7 runs, 7 hits, 4 RBI between the 2 of them. Remember, Southern scored 10 runs last night. 11 runs last night. So 7 of them were manufactured by these two at the top of the order right here. Oh, 1 grounded to first. He'll give up the run, but it's an easy put out, 3 unassisted for Martinez, 2 away in the inning. As Radcliffe scores from first, and Southern's on the board.
There goes your 10-run rule.
Well, it's also a nice job not to overthink that one. Right? I mean, sure that you want to stay in run roll range, but you got plenty of opportunities to do that. There's no reason to try to get cute with it, throw home. We saw a couple times last night, try to do a little too much, throw the ball away. Just take the easy out.
And we saw Southern do that in the second inning. We're trying to catch guys going, trying to punish the Wildcats, trying to take an extra base, throw the ball away, allow a run to score.
At least we haven't seen a million pickoffs like we did last night.
That's because there haven't been as many Jags on base. They've only had 2 base runners.
Wouldn't have stopped us last night from throwing over 8 times.
Just throw over to check the empty base. Somehow I don't think that's allowed. You'd get a pitch clock violation for that. Thibodeau, there's a strike, 89-mile-an-hour fastball, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Thibodeau struck out his first time up. Thibodeau bounced to first. Martinez will take it himself. So 2 unassisted plays for Martinez at first, and the Wildcats get out of the inning. 1 run on no hits, 1 error, and nobody left. And we go to the bottom of the third. 10-1 Wildcats here on the CatEye Network. Well, what do the Wildcats have for an encore after they plated 10 runs in the second? Darrell Lee, top of the order, starts it off. Already his 3rd AB of the afternoon. Struck out looking his first time up, then walked and was picked off 6-4 on a fielder's choice, his second. So still looking to make a bigger impact on the game, Lee. And it's a 1-1 count. Michael Turillo on the broadcast for you this afternoon. Bryce Winoski joins me as always. We've got a special guest, our football color analyst, Darrell Natile.
I'm at bat right now.
You are.
Leave me alone.
Well, I mean, last night with the 2 brothers, pitcher and catcher, the first edition of the lineup card said Bernard Grace was doing both. He was both pitcher and catcher.
Wonder how many times they played catch in the backyard.
Oh, their entire lives. Lee, big swing and miss of the breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Lee fouls one away to stay alive. Appreciate your company today on the CatEye Network. Long day for us up here in the booth with the doubleheader, but the Wildcats up 10-1, hoping this one, at least the first one, is a 7-inning affair, but a long way to go till then because we're only in the third. That one way low, and the second one that's bounced off Bradley's legs.
That ball ended up in the Southern dugout.
And that's a bit of a danger warning for Xavier Bradley behind the plate because you know how unforgiving the backstop is here at the Jack. If there's a runner on third, the ball gets away. That man is coming home no matter what. And I think I've only seen one person be out at home on a pass ball this season. And that was in the FIU game. 3-2 from Prosper to Lee. Lee turns on the breaking ball and gets it just over the glove of White at second in the right field for a base hit.
It's so hard. I mean, Darrell Lee barrels up the ball with anybody on this roster. I mean, it doesn't go over the wall, but you can't hit it much harder than that, especially for a ball that's high in the zone. Easy to pop that one up or roll it over. Instead, just textbook right over the infield.
And it's about being patient, right? You got to wait for that curveball to come in because it's down in the low 70s and it's lower than really what you're used to seeing on a daily basis facing your own guys in practice. You just got to change up your mental timing a little bit, and the Wildcats have done what they've done to both Banks and Prosper. Now, Banks
on the first
had the velo, right? He was up in the low to mid 90s, and low 80s with the changeup. The Wildcats dealt with it, and now, after adjusting to Prosper, did what they did to Prosper in the second. So 5 batters into the second, Banks was done, and then Prosper faced a further 8 batters in the second, as the Wildcats pleaded 9 runs on 10 hits. And they got Darrell Lee on first with nobody out here in the third, outside. First pitch to Andre Martinez. Third bat already for Martinez. Flied out to right his first time up, reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the second. And Bryce with the walk-off last night, as well as 2 hits, a run, an RBI, and was on base 2 more times after that last night. Are we looking at a 3rd straight weekly award for Andre Martinez from the SWAC?
Well, I mean, Thibodeau's still got another day to do it, right? But certainly well on his way. The newcomer of the week award is interesting nowadays. And it's really going to be interesting in some of the sports like basketball, especially where kind of everybody's a newcomer now in the way college athletics works. So it's kind of just another opportunity for like a player 2 of the week.
Yep. Martinez slashes it foul. 3 balls, 1 strike.
1,700 kids right now in basketball in the portal.
It's ridiculous.
And 11 of them from Bethune-Cookman.
Yep. They talk about the whole starting 5's gone. They talk about guys from Alabama State leaving. C.J. Hines in the portal. You look everywhere, and there are just about the entire starting lineup is
I
gone.
think the only one guaranteed to stay in the whole of SWAC is Matlock because his dad's the coach.
Right. even then, I wouldn't be impressed. Hey, Pops, listen, I got an offer for you. Somewhere better.
Did he transfer from South Carolina State?
Well, he came with his dad, who was an assistant at South Carolina State. 3-1. Ball 4. And a 5-pitch walk to Andre Martinez, 2 on, nobody out.
At one time, South Carolina State was ranked number 1 in HBCU, and we had beaten them early in the season.
We did.
And then we had also beaten Southern, and we had also beaten the team above them. Was it Jackson State? We didn't.
No, we didn't beat Jackson this year. They had our number.
Yeah.
Alcorn had our number until the playoffs. But yeah, no, a Wildcat basketball team. Whew,
Man, that was crazy, man.
that's
Magic at Moore Gymnasium.
oh yeah, so many times. Were you there on senior night for?
No. I can't see in that gym, man. I got cataracts and the glare, man, was killing me.
But I remember you texted me afterwards and was like, "Wow, that was one of the craziest nights."
I love listening to you guys on my couch, man. I love it.
A ball and no strikes to Jorge Gonzalez Febo. Watches one low. Febo has been up twice, scored twice, a double down the left field line of the first, scored on a wild pitch, and then singled to third base and came around to score in the second. 2 on, nobody out. The Wildcats threatening again, up 10-1. Genesis Prosper deals. Now, don't let that scare anybody away from coming out to watch the Wildcats in person in any sport.
I just got somebody text me about the second game they want to come to. I said maybe 6 o'clock, maybe 7. Where this game going?
Well, the earliest it'll be is 6 because that's when it's scheduled for. Other than that, it'll be an hour after this game finishes up. That's a nice little slider, catches the back part of the zone, back door, 3 balls and a strike to Febo. Bryce, Jorge Gonzalez Febo has been such an interesting guy to watch develop over the last 2 years. 3-1. Swing and a chopper foul, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, did he make contact?
I certainly didn't hear any, and they haven't waved the runners back
Oh,
yet.
so he just missed it, and then the pass ball / wild pitch allows the runners to advance, so now second and third, nobody out. I thought I heard him hit the. I heard the tick of the bat. I give it a pass ball. (3-2) on Fabo. Ball 4 low. But to watch Fabo's development from last year, I mean, second pitch he saw at the Division I level, he put over the left field wall. And then he went into a slump for most of the season, and then it was his defense at third base that got him back in the lineup, and towards the end of the year, the offense caught up as he got used to seeing Division I arms on a daily basis.
And now he's talked about like a leader in the not only on the field, but in the clubhouse, between the guys. I mean, much like the start to Jeter Poyeto's year, right, where he had a lot of promise, came in slow starting, but kept in by the defense, and sure enough, the bat eventually came along.
First pitch of ball to Jorge Rodriguez. Bases loaded for the Cats in the third inning, nobody out. Single by Lee. Then Martinez and Fabo both walked. Inside fastball, ball 2. And Fabo, just a sophomore, he's someone who might get some looks from some Power 5 schools at times, but with anything like that, we hope that he sticks around and continues to drive this program's development. There's a breaking ball low, 3-0 to Rodriguez. Prosper in danger of walking in a run, and there's a man up in the Southern bullpen.
I talked to Johnny a lot by text, and he likes the kids, to go to JUCO first and get their feet wet, then come. And this kid, man, playing ball for us real good. That's another RBI.
Yep. Rodriguez, who reached on an error in the second and came around to score, reaches on a walk. 3 straight walks and a base hit means Darrell Lee scores from third. And it is 11-1, Bethune-Cookman.
Miami-Dade's a pipeline right now to Bethune-Cookman.
When you talk about kind of the fear of guys leaving, I think one of the things that has benefited this program is they've come so close to a SWAC title over the last couple of years. There's been a handful of guys that have told us that part of the reason they're returning is because they feel like they want to be part of something. They feel like they want to take that next step. They want to see that conference title, and it's a group of guys that they feel comfortable doing that with. I mean, how many times did we hear it even from Nolan Santos, who I have no doubt was considering returning just with, I felt like we were right there, and he had more to give the program. And so when you continue to be this competitive, it's an environment, it's a club that players want to be a part of, and it's not that easy to just walk away and leave for the next opportunity.
Well, I think the coaching staff, if anything else, pushed Santos away. Like, go play pro ball. Don't stay here and have the chance of ruining an opportunity.
Yep.
And now he's, 2 steps away from the major leagues, and he might be there in the next couple of years, which is wild. Somebody that we watched right here.
He's in Double-A?
He's in Double-A. Got moved up after training camp. Kind of sad that he never pitched in this ballpark as a professional. Never pitched here with the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles.
That's Minnesota Twins.
That's Minnesota Twins, yeah. 1-1 on Jesus Venegas. Grounded out to end the first. He golfs one into shallow left. There's a base hit. That'll score 2. Coming in is Martinez from third and Fabo from second. 2 RBI single for Venegas. The Cats keep the carousel going.
This is what game 1 looks like. Oh boy, we got another one coming up. We mentioned a couple of top relievers for Southern came in last night. The second game were to be close. I think you might be able to see them available.
Huff only pitched an inning in the third last night. He's their top bullpen arm. With the way it was looking early, as that one's laced to right field on the ground. Digging towards second is Armani Newton. He's going to be safe. The ball beat him there, but the second baseman, White, completely whiffed on it, and it's another RBI for the Wildcats. Rodriguez scores from second. Going from first to third is Venegas, and we got another carousel of Cats here in the third inning. 4 in already for Bethune-Cookman. 14-1.
That's it. His ERA just blossomed a little bit.
Well, I mean, I mentioned that his ERA went from 6 to 12 or to 10 in 2 starts. It might go up 13-14 now.
And it's tough when you're a part of this club, right? Or programs like this in the SWAC where you know that you're kind of the last line of defense, right? So you kind of have to sell out in opportunities you otherwise might not. You can't pitch as conservatively as you might like. There's nobody in the back coming for you, right? And even last night with Zambrano, for example, he comes in, he's a little bit at the end of the leash. They bring him back out for an extra inning. And a lot of times it's a tough mentality to be put into, but you knew you had Yoancel Diaz warming behind you, that if things got really bad or you really didn't have it or your arm was falling off, you had a guy that you could trust and you knew the game wasn't all on you in that exact moment. When you don't have much behind you and you know it's only going south from where you're at, you don't get that luxury. You have to really try to force the issue a little bit, and Southern just doesn't have that. And even for Prosper, a guy that started out the season strong, it's a tough spot to be put in.
And it says a lot about, right, when your non-conference numbers are so good and then you come into conference play and get shelled, as both Banks and Prosper have for Southern. You know, what your non-conference opposition is SWAC schools, is D2s. And Southern has not the worst defender. They've played Missouri, they've played St. Peter's, they've played Mercer, they've played Louisiana, they've played Incarnate Word, they've played LSU. But they stat pad against SWAC schools. They've played Dillard, Xavier, Louisiana, and again other SWAC schools. And you see it up and down, especially in the West. We talked about Jackson doing it with their great non-conference record. Their non-conference record was all SWAC schools.
Yep. And I mean, since Coach Hernandez has been here, and probably extending further back past that, I can't remember the last time this program has played a non-D1 in the non-conference or in the midweek. They just don't do it. I mean, they challenge themselves week after week. We're going to get it again after this series. You're going to go right on down to USF, and you're going to see some good quality competition again. And when we talk about on these midweek games that it's not just a practice opportunity for the team, but they want to win these games, that's a big part of that mentality translating to the weekend, right? Is you're not just trying to run through the SWAC. It's never part of the problem. It's great if you want to finish with the top seed in the SWAC, awesome. They want to establish themselves as a legit program within the state of Florida and beyond.
And these are the kind of teams we're going to see, too, if we get into the NCAA playoffs. You're probably going to go to Florida or Florida State. Because I remember back in, can't remember the year, when we went to University of Florida, and we ended up beating FIU.
2017. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we almost knocked off Florida.
Right.
That was the year that I really started to take notice about Bethune-Cookman baseball. I wasn't working here yet and wouldn't for another couple of years. But it made the news locally, and then I started following the program. Because I'd already kind of started, I'd followed the football program because of their success in the 90s and 2000s and even into the 2010s. But baseball I really didn't know much about until that 2017 run.
I think South Alabama was in that tournament, too, with us.
That's a good baseball team, too.
Well, in Southern, right, they haven't hit the ball as well today as they did last night. But I still love the experience you've gotten against this kind of team. And I told Coach right after we hopped off the radio last night, I don't think last year's team had the bats to win a game like they did last night. To know that you have this, even against, today, much lesser arms, it certainly makes you feel a lot better as we inch closer to the SWAC tournament.
Irvin Escobar, first pitch swinging against Kenneth Jackson. That's in the left center field gap. Escobar on his horse. He's going to second with a 2 RBI double. Venegas scores. Newton behind him. Wow. Talk about a warm welcome for an opposing pitcher of the sophomore Kenneth Jackson. I didn't even talk about him yet, and he's already given up 2.
Well, it's games like this, though, I wish we had the benefit of some of the high school rules that say, it's 10 runs after 7, but it's 15 runs after 5 or 20 after 3. The Wildcats are going to keep doing their thing. I mean, it seems like in games like this, as opposed to some where the bats struggle, when they're knocking guys around like this, they don't ever lull back to sleep at that point. They'll pour it on and pour it on and pour it on.
Still nobody out in the inning. The first 7 have reached base, and 6 of them have scored. It's 16-1. Let's talk about the new pitcher. It's the sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, Kenneth Jackson. Spent his freshman year at Arkansas Pine Bluff. His ERA on the year is 19.80 in 6 appearances. This is his 7th. Jackson gets Poyero to wave at a 12-6 curve, and he's behind 0-2. 5 innings pitched for Jackson. He's given up 11 runs on 8 hits. 8 runs on let's try that again. 11 runs, 8 hits, all earned. Striking out 3, walking 9. This is, of course, before that 2 RBI double by Irvin Escobar. Polledo strikes out, and there's the first out of the inning.
Are we sure?
There was no throw down to first. Polledo went down there. There was no throw. I think that Xavier Bradley behind the plate is adamant that he did not drop the ball, and so there shouldn't need to be a throw to first, and now the umpires will convene. You see everything out here.
Polledo's probably going to stand there and be adamant that he did drop the ball. And that it's he said, she. Well, I'm done. I'm not even trying that one anymore.
You know, we've seen some games this year in NCAA, 30 to 25 and stuff like that. That's because of the run rule you're talking about, Bryce.
We've seen far too many of them to start this year.
I mean,
you mentioned earlier that it felt like the UMES game. Now it feels like the UMES game. We were fully in UMES territory. But it's crazy in that game that we only had 15 hits, right? You got 11 now. Only 15 with how many guys were walked and hit and everything else. Hasn't quite got to that level yet.
We had 19 hits last night. That was a season high. We're going to blow past that if this keeps up.
So they're going to send the runner back to the dugout. Maybe he did strike out. He didn't drop the ball.
Now the conversation happening with Coach Hernandez, and this just tells me about the temperament of Coach Hernandez, that his team is up 16-1, and he's still arguing the call like it was a tie ball game.
Yeah, it's more so maybe an accountability thing for the officials, right? Just saying, you know, he's not going to get fired up and get thrown out for a play like that, but just saying like, hey, I disagree. I want to see this or that or what have you.
So the first out of the inning is a strikeout of Jeter Polledo. And now here's the 9-hole hitter, Sergio Rivera, and the Wildcats, barring some wacky double play here, will bat around again for the second inning in a row. Something I've noticed this afternoon, too, is that Xavier Bradley behind the plate does not look as confident defensively as Rashard Grace did last night. A lot of those balls in the dirt, he's chesting down, he's catching with his legs, he's not gloving it cleanly. There's a fastball in on the hands, torched foul by Sergio, a ball and a strike.
Okay, I stand corrected. I just got a text message saying we beat South Florida and Florida, forcing University of Florida into the elimination game. Jason Beverland was our coach then.
That was in 2017, yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
And I was talking to Coach Hernandez before today's game. I was down on the field just chatting with him as the players were warming up, and I said, you know, he told me there are two things that he writes on his whiteboard in his office before every season. He writes opening day, he writes the date of the Super Regional, and he writes 39, which is the program record for wins. That's what he's chasing every year. And he says he wants to catch Beverly and all them.
We had 33 last year, right?
In the wins column. We did.
Think about how many one-run games we lost last year. We could have easily had 40.
Oh, yeah. But that was the build of the team last year. Lots of pitching and defense and not a lot of offense. But that's a big cut and miss by Sergio Rivera. He goes down, 2 away in the inning. And now here's Darrell Lee, who led off the inning with a single to the left and ended up scoring. Ended up walking in to score on the Jorge Rodriguez walk. So the Wildcats have batted around for the second straight inning. Jackson's up there shaking off pitches. Down 16-1. Lee, but another chance for some RBI. I think we're about to see the strike zone balloon, as Darrell Lee was not happy with that call.
I think he wanted to throw smoke. He's confident with his fastball.
Well, the Wildcats have someone up in the bullpen now. I'm not sure why they would. Joel Correa is only at 48 pitches with a chance to get out of here in 7.
But he sat almost 2 hours the last 2 innings, huh?
Yeah. That might be actually Corey just getting some practice pitches in. I can't tell all the way down the left field line. In fact, I think it is.
Yep.
That one grounded up the middle base hit. It's going to be another run for BCU. Irvin Escobar is going to score from second. The team-leading 21st RBI of the season for Darrell Lee.
22nd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he had one already tonight.
Yeah, he had one earlier.
Just such a versatile hitter. I mean, he hit that ball. Last time up, I applauded how hard he hit the line drive over the second base side of the infield. That one might have been hit just as hard. It just was up the middle.
First baseman, number
Easy
36,
grounder.
Andre
Just
Martinez.
so impressive.
Was he injured in the early part of the year?
No, he's been right the way through the season.
Okay.
Now here's Andre Martinez. Fly to right in the first. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the second. Walked and scored in the third. And he bats for the second time in this inning. And Darrell Lee, 22 games played out of 27, and he started 20 of them. Little excuse me swing back to the pitcher. Jackson off the mound to finally retire the side. The Wildcats go bonkers again.
They scored 7 runs.
7 runs, 5 hits, no errors, 1 left. We go to the the top of the fourth. It is 17-1 Bethune-Cookman over Southern here on the CatEye Network.
Jalen Lucky.
17-1 Bethune-Cookman as we go to the fourth. Yes, that's actually a sentence that I'm having to say. A couple of defensive substitutions for Bethune-Cookman. Jose Fernandez takes over behind the plate for Irvin Escobar. Jamie Villafane, who scored the winning run last night on the Andre Martinez single in the 9th inning, comes in to play shortstop for Gito Poyeto. Ground ball to short. Villafane tested early, but that throw is right on target, 1 away. To retire Jalen Lucky. Funny how a lot of run support
Now batting for the Jaguars, right fielder number 20.
make your defense better. You're not being pressured every time a Southern batter steps up, every time a ball's put in play. Joel Corey had been sitting so long because the Wildcats have been at bat for so much of the game. He was throwing bullpen at the back end of the last inning to keep his arm warmed up. Darrell, you've been here a long time, seen a lot of games at this ballpark.
Don't ask me which one. Don't ask for my favorite game. I can tell you exactly.
I'm going to ask you
Okay.
what was the most lopsided one you've ever seen, because we might be trending that way.
Okay.
And you can't say the 30-5 game from a month ago, because that's my answer.
I think one time we played Maryland Eastern Shores
Well,
back in the MEAC, and we did one of those UMS games. We did it to them back in the early 2000s.
I think that's the one that Harv mentioned on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Probably was.
It was 28-2 or something.
Yep, that's the one I'm referring to.
Yep.
Feels like there's been a lot of gigantic baseball scores. Where'd you see the one from UConn softball last night? They
yeah,
got
it was
suspended to darkness because they had the power outage.
19-16 in the 3rd inning.
It was ridiculous.
Unbelievable. The batter is Cameron Bird, flied out to left his first time up. That was the terrific diving catch by Lee, where he misjudged it off the bat, had to come in and save himself. Swing and a miss. Drop third strike. Fernandez throws to first. Fifth strikeout of the game for Joel Corey. 2 away. But now your focus for the Wildcats is getting Joel Corey as far as you can in this game while keeping it a run rule.
That solves a couple of problems, right? Of course, you get through this one. You don't have to use anybody else, but it also can give him a good tick of confidence, right? Because he hasn't really had those opportunities over the last couple of weekends just to give him this, I got a complete game, right? I mean, that goes a long way into building back up to how incredible his start of the season was.
I mean, at one point, he was leading the nation in strikeouts per 9, I think, through the first couple of weekends. He was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
He's cranking that breaking ball into.
Yeah, I think I often talk about, as I think Joel Corey's going to get a pitch clock warning, because that's what we need right now. I think between the sweeper that Zambrano has and the curveball that Corey has, tied for being my favorite pitch on the staff. There's an off-speed pitch grounded to short. 1-2-3. Go the Jags. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 17-1 Bethune-Cookman here on the CatEye Network. Gonzalez Febo leads off for the Wildcats here in the bottom of the fourth inning after the Jags went 1-2-3. First pitch fastball strike from Jackson, who struck out 2 of the last 3 batters he faced in the third inning to get out of it. But the Wildcats have plated 17 runs and have eaten this Southern pitching staff alive here tonight. But just a reminder that Southern threw their best bullpen arms last night. So did the Wildcats, and that one's a little excuse me swing towards third base. Fielding and firing is Bates. He's on target for out number 1. Only the second time this afternoon that the Wildcat leadoff man has been out.
On a check swing.
Yeah, it was a check swing, yeah. Darrell Lee was the first one who struck out looking in the first.
It's the opposite of what we saw last night. Southern put the leadoff man. How many times was the leadoff man on for Southern last night?
Only 3 innings they didn't have the leadoff man on.
Yep.
Pitch hitting for Bethune-Cookman, number
Roger
11,
Rodriguez.
We're going to have the first of
pitch hitting for the Cats.
a slew of changes here as Ray Plasencia is going to bat in the 4 spot for Jorge Rodriguez. Plasencia batting .241, 29 at-bats, 7 runs, 7 hits. A double, a triple, no homers, 3 RBI, and he's even in the count 1-1. The sophomore transfer from Arkansas Pine Bluff deals up and in.
Pine Bluff is the team we're going to see this year for football, finally, huh?
Yeah, and we're going to see him for baseball for the first time, too. In a couple weeks, we'll go up there. 2-1. Big cut and miss by Reynaldo Plasencia. The rest of the Wildcats' schedule in conference play looks like this. Home against Valley next weekend, at Bama A&M versus Florida A&M at home, at Pine Bluff versus Bama State, at Grambling State versus Texas Southern. The two that stand out, obviously, at Grambling and home against FAMU, the other teams that they're currently tied with at the top of the standings. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Plasencia. Jackson deals. Tap foul, we'll do it again.
So now that we're going with one division, how many teams are going to the tournament now?
Still 8.
Still 8?
Although, now that basketball has bumped the number of teams up from 8 to 10 and now 12 next year, I would not be surprised if baseball does something similar. 3-2. Outside ball 4, Plasencia walks.
I'll say when it comes to the tournament thing, I think the basketball one is largely a result of the success of the tournament as an event. I don't know that baseball and softball will follow, especially softball, just because of it's kind of the opposite. Where it's kind of a neglected tournament when it comes to infrastructure and how it's run, fan engagement. Whereas they try to make the Atlanta trip a really fun one, a really big HBCU moment. I think it's going to take a while or until they see some big fan support until they go the other way. I could be wrong, but that's my initial thoughts about opening that one up.
But again, it wouldn't surprise me if they do it just to keep in line with a lot of other conferences in the country where everybody makes the tournament. I don't like it personally for anything. Josh Rodriguez puts one in the air to center field. Radcliffe makes the catch, 2 away.
You know, one of those lower tier teams that come in, man, with a hot bat, knock out a guy.
And baseball, more than basketball, could be susceptible to that. You don't want, a Pine Bluff or a Valley getting hot for a week and winning the thing.
You've got to structure it in a way that is very rewarding to your top seeds, because at the end of the day, tournament structure is built in a way that you want to give not only you want to prioritize getting your best team into the tournament when you're a lower end conference like this so that you can see some success in the postseason, but you also want to make it, you want to make sure the path is rock solid too.
Christopher Watson will bat now, 3rd straight pinch hitter. Wouldn't surprise me if the Wildcats change all 9 here. Watson batting .308, 13 at-bats, 3 runs on 4 hits, 4 RBI. Runner on first and 2 out. That runner is Ray Plasencia after his walk. It's an interesting thing, and I'm not sure what the actual format is going to be for the SWAC tournament baseball this year because of the one table. In years past, it's been this sort of nested double elimination where you only play the teams in your pool, which is why we've had to play Grambling 3 times 2 years ago or Jackson State 3 times last year. And I'm glad to be rid of that. Is it going to be a straight double elimination bracket, or are they going to do something funky with it?
Well, I prefer that to traditional pool play.
Oh, Watson got hit. And it'll be 2 on, 2 out.
Pool play is so frustrating because anytime you go out of the tournament on a win is
the
kind of
ACC
silly
is
to me.
done with that now. They're going to a bracket.
The A-Sun still does it. A handful of others. It's
the West Coast Conference. I still think still does it.
It's not horrible. Like it is what it is. I don't personally love it. It's just a weird way to do it. Especially when there's teams that win 2 of 3 and just due to whatever tiebreakers are still nudged out of it.
Yeah. Unless you're doing full double round robin, pool play makes no sense.
Yep.
It also takes forever. I mean, the ACC up in North Carolina used to have, the first game started at 9 a.m. The last game wouldn't start till 10 p.m. on the day. That's down the line and foul into the BCU bullpen.
And then if you have bad weather, like rain, it rains a lot in May, You get rain, but if you play here, you get rains. Hey,
Jose Fernandez batting in place of Irvin Escobar. He also takes over behind the plate. Numbers on Fernandez, if I can find him. .333 his average, 27 at-bats, 7 runs on 9 hits, 4 doubles, 5 RBI. 2 on, 2 out here. Jackson trying to keep the bats quiet for the Wildcats for the first time all game. That breaking ball misses the zone 1 and 2. Wildcats plated 1 in the first, 9 in the second, 7 in the third. The sophomore from Chicago, Jackson deals. Off the end of the bat, straight back foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count remains.
We used to host a MEAC tournament here. We played up in Ormond. And they had 2 games going on at one time. You had all the coaches on the Dixie Queen going up and down the river, man. They loved it here, man. Lynn Thompson used to have a seafood fest in his backyard.
Yeah, we had to do 2 games at once in Birmingham the last time the tournament was there in 21. I guess it'd be the spring of 22.
Ball skips away on the 1-2 pitch. The runners will move up on the wild ones. That means Plasencia goes to third and Watson goes to second.
Of course, that split tournament was, the one game was at the home of the Birmingham Barons there in downtown Birmingham, and then the other was just a UAB's baseball field, which comparatively, is tiny, really small press box, probably seats half a dozen people. Very little stands. It was a big contrast. You had to do what you had to do to get the tournament in as scheduled, but it was definitely a big contrast.
2-2 with 2 outs to Jose Fernandez. Second and third now after the wild pitch. Jackson deals. Swing and a miss, and that's the end of the inning. For the first time, the Wildcats don't play to run here in the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 left. We go to the 5th, 17-1 Wildcats here on the CatEye Network. To the 5th we go. Dylan Jones leads off. Joel Corey still on the mound. He is the only starter for Bethune-Cookman remaining in the game. That one hit high in the air, right center field. Tracking it and making the catch on the move is Daniel Figueroa, 1 away.
What's the pitch count now?
Pitch count for Corey, I'll get that in a second after I finish writing down all these substitutions because there are a lot of them.
I think that was 60.
Catcher number 9.
Yeah, that was number 60 for him.
So catching you up, in the outfield left to right, it's Michael Rodriguez in left, Daniel Figueroa in center, Chris Watson in right. On the infield, as there's the first pitch strike to Xavier Bradley. Peter Vasquez now at third, Jamie Villafane at short, Josh Rodriguez at second, and Jorge Gonzalez Febo moves from third to first. So 8 of 9 are the same. And I think it's important for Febo now to get some reps at first base after his rough outing over there last night. Corey misses that one behind 2-1. Wildcats up 17-1 after plating 1 in the first, 9 in the second, 7 in the third, and they almost plated more in the fourth as they had second and third 2 out. 2-1 from Corey. Takes off of it, and the off speed is waved at and missed by Bradley, who struck out his first time up.
The fastball clocked at 88. That was 81 miles an hour there.
9 miles an hour, and Corey's been up in the low to mid 90s, taking 12 to 15 mile an hour off for the change. That did it again. Exact same pitch. Exact same swing and miss. Bradley strikes out for the second time today. 5th strikeout for Corey.
It's incredible for kids, at an early age to be able to throw a breaking ball like that.
Batter is Jacoby Radcliffe. He's got the only run for Southern, one of only 2 base runners they've had. Reached on an error in the third, came around to score on 2 sacrifices. He hits a ground ball to second. Rodriguez to Febo, and that's it. 1, 2, 3 go the Jags. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 17-1 Wildcats here on the CatEye Network. So after the entire Wildcat order was changed,
Shortstop number 17, Jamie Villafane.
Jamie Villafane will take his first AB in place of Jeter Poyeto with the Cats up 17-1. Michael Travilla, Bryce Wojnowski, Darren Latil here at the Jack. There's a strike, a ball, and a strike to count to Villafane from Kenneth Jackson, the 3rd Southern pitcher. keeping an eye on the Southern pitching on the afternoon. Banks went 1 inning, gave up 6 runs on 3 hits all earned, walked 3, struck out 2. Fouled away 2-2 by Villafane. Then he turned it over to Genesis Prosper, who also went 1 inning. Gave up 10 runs on 7 hits. 7 of those 10 were earned. Walked 3, struck out nobody. And now Kenneth Jackson has been the only one for Southern who's been able to stabilize it all. Here's the 2-2 to Villafane. In the air, down the right field line. That's a long run for Bird out there, and he's going to watch it drop. Villafane is going to sprint to second, and he's got himself a double. That's the second one of those this afternoon, guys, that just kind of landed in no man's land down the first baseline. The outfield dimensions in this ballpark are just so different than many of the other places you find at the college level because it's a pro ball park.
We saw a couple of those last night, too. I mean, shoot, when the Wildcats ended up coming all the way back, they had a couple of those balls that dropped. There's just so much space, right? And a lot of times if you're not positioned well from the start, and this oftentimes is a way for batters to try to game plan, even still, I mean, out in right field. If you put anything down that line, playing so far in, pinching into center there's so much space.
Daniel Figueroa bats now in place of Sergio Rivera in the 9-hole. He takes over in center field. Figgy was a mainstay in the lineup last year, but has struggled to get some looks. Batting .229, 35 at-bats, 4 runs on 8 hits, 1-0. Fastball at the letters for a strike, 1-1. Darryl, you were talking in the inning break about spring football. It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Come on out to the spring game, April 12th, 1 p.m. Admission free at Daytona Stadium. Get your first look at the BCU Football 2025 edition. Bounced over the head of the pitcher. That's a tough play at second for White, and it's not in time. An infield single legged out by Daniel Figueroa, and the lineup turns over again.
You know, the Cats pricing at 7 a.m., you know, at the complex over on Jesse Street, and I had an opportunity, you know, to see sneak in there and watch a little bit. I was amazed to see that the kid we get from Arkansas State, left-handed, just like Cam. He even looks like Cam.
Yeah, no, you were telling me in the break, like, they look identical.
They look
Left-handed,
identical.
big guys can move.
I couldn't tell the difference. One was wearing 11, one was wearing 3. They look like the same size, man.
Michael Rodriguez bounces one to first, on to second. There's the double play. So Michael Rodriguez will still get an RBI, but he grounds into a 3-4 double play. Coming in to score from third is Jamie Villafane, and it's 18-1 Wildcats.
Got some new coaches on the staff. You got Keith Coach Toe, I call him. Played tight end up at Buffalo.
Not to pull the official scorer's card on you, but you do not get an RBI if it's a double play.
Oh, you don't?
Double play, no RBI.
It's a fielder's choice, isn't it?
No, because
double
both outs
play,
were
double
recorded.
play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just one of those quirky baseball things. Seems like you should, but the official rule is you do not.
That one jumped off on me, and I've been scoring
For years.
for 15 years.
and never knew that, huh? Boy.
Well, there's always one, and especially when Bryce, you've had to both stat and commentate at the same time. There's always one that, you know, you'll go quiet for 2-3 minutes and like, oh, he's looking something up because there was some weird ruling. Ground ball just outside of first. Peter Vasquez is batting now in place of Andre Martinez.
They got the bullpen going with nobody covering the catcher. Now they're sending a guy out because the catcher got hit with that ball.
Vasquez took over at third base. Watches the 2-1. Grounds it foul 2-2.
Cover man's in place that time.
Still trying to catch up on my scorecard with all the substitutions. It's one of the downsides of scoring by hand. If there's a bunch of subs like this, it's hard to keep up. 2-2 on Peter Vasquez from Jackson. Breaking ball cut on and missed. Jackson now has a couple of strikeouts. 4 strikeouts now for Jackson. A run on 2 hits for the Cats. They punch their lead to 18-1. We go to the 6th, and we'll be back here on the CatEye Network. Benny Bakar leads off for Southern as we start the 5th inning. Joel Corey still on the mound with the Wildcats up 18-1. And if you had asked me for a score prediction about, say, an hour, 2 hours ago, I would have not said this after the 12-11 thrill ride we had last night, Bryce.
And it's, I mean, as much as we'll give the bats their due, I give Corey just as much on the other side. I mean, we expected it might get a little rocky.
Oh, look at that. Perfection on the corner. 6th strikeout for Corey. First one looking as he gets Bakar.
I would say that maybe Southern shouldn't have went on the beach last night. Anytime you go on the beach, man.
Oh, did they go down to the beach?
Sure. That's it.
I wonder where teams stay when they come down here.
A lot of times it's the beachside Hilton, I think.
Oh, okay.
The one where you can see the water. I mean, I guess that's a lot of hotels, but football teams usually stay down there. The one right across the street from the Ocean Center.
Yeah. That's where all the basketball teams come and stay when they play at the Ocean Center. In the air to center field. Moving over, Figueroa makes the catch to retire KJ White 2 away.
Got a big tournament coming up in April over at Ocean Center, right?
Oh, it's already, that was the CBI. It's over. It's
No,
done.
it's another tournament coming in April the 6th.
I didn't know about that. What's going on over there?
I'll let you know in a second. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. I'm selfish because I want to contact the organizers, see if they need help.
Right.
Here's Thibodeau. High fly, left field. First pitch swinging from Thibodeau back towards the track mark. Rodriguez makes the catch. And on 5 pitches, 1, 2, 3. Go the Jags. We go. Bottom 6, 18-1 here on the CatEye Network. Potentially the last ups for the Cats here as we go bottom
First
6.
baseman number 29, George Gonzalez-Fabo.
Here at the Jack, the Cats up 18-1, and the only man who has not been rotated out of the starting lineup, Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo, will bat now. He did get moved from third to first on the defensive side. Fabo today doubled and scored in the first, singled and scored in the second, walked and scored in the third, and grounded out to third in the fourth. He puts one in the air, right field, down the line. Not that deep bird, got to camp under it, make the catch for out number 1. Let's go around the SWAC. Big day of SWAC action today. Alabama A&M and Texas Southern playing a doubleheader out in Houston. Don't have live stats for that. Florida A&M and Prairie View playing the second of their 3-game series. Florida A&M won 10-0 last night. That game currently 6-0 FAM, the top of the 4th. The only other game going on right now is Alabama State at Arkansas Pine Bluff, but just like last night, live stats link not up. Don't know how those games are going. I'll try and check in on Texas Southern, or maybe Bryce can, in the in-between innings, because I know Texas Southern likes to stream those on YouTube, I think. So maybe they've got that going.
Have we played PV yet in baseball?
No, we don't in the regular season. That's the one team we miss. And maybe it's a good thing, too, because they're hot.
I know we played TSU in the tournament. I know we played Texas Southern a couple times.
We played Prairie View last year in the tournament and run ruled them, but this year we don't play them. But Prairie View, their first 2 series, took 2 out of 3 from Jackson and 2 out of 3 from Southern. Swing and a miss from Ray Plasencia. He goes down. 5th strikeout for Jackson.
Did he
Kenneth
start him the next game?
He's been the best pitcher that Southern's had. 3 2/3.
Second baseman number 10, Josh Rodriguez.
2 runs on 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He's been good, the sophomore.
It's not our starters, though.
So Texas Southern AMU is final, and 6-5 in favor of Texas Southern.
That's supposed to be a doubleheader. Is that game 1?
So that's game 1, I guess.
Well, there you go. That one outside, 1-1 on Josh Rodriguez, who walked his first time up. Taking a look at the standing in the SWAC coming into this afternoon. Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman both 6-1 atop the standings. Both 13-13 on overall as well.
We'll see them in Sanford.
Grambling State 6-2, a half game back. And then Texas Southern 4-2, Bama State 4-3, Prairie View 4-3, Valley 4-5. Don't look now, but Valley's in a playoff spot. Of course, they have played Alcorn this week, and they swept them already because they played 2 yesterday and 1 Thursday. Pine Bluff 3-4, Jackson State 3-5, Bama A&M 2-4, Southern 2-5, Alcorn 0-9. The 3-1. That one's hit on the ground. A diving stop by White from his knees makes a nice play. To retire the side. 1, 2, 3, go the Cats.
No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on.
And 3 outs to get for the Wildcats as we go to the 7th here on the CatEye Network. Wildcats 3 outs away
Jaguars in the 7th.
from a run rule victory in game 1 of this doubleheader. Jalen Lucky will lead off. He's 0 for 2. Popped out on the infield in the first and grounded out to short in the 4th. Joel Corey looking for the complete game here, Bryce. And we talked about protecting that bullpen, and you can't do much better than a complete game.
I mean, he's been so much more in command and control than we've seen over the last several weekends.
And yes, the 6 strikeouts flash out at you, but it's all been weak contact. Nothing's been barreled up. There's only really been one great, outstanding defensive play for the Wildcats. That was Darrell Lee's diving catch back in the 2nd. Other than that, it's been routine flies, routine ground balls. The defense has made the plays. They have only committed 1 error in the game, and that allowed the only Southern run to score back in the 3rd. That was an error on Jesus Venegas. The 3 due up in the inning for Southern are Jalen Lucky, Cameron Bird, and Taj Bates. That one eats up Josh Rodriguez. 2 balls and 1 strike. Darryl, how's it been being back at the ballpark? It's your first time out here this year. Oh, that time he hit him.
I think I came to one of the earlier games. It was kind of cool out.
It's been. I mentioned it's been cool all year. That's only the 3rd base runner of the game for Southern.
I like what they've done to the ballpark too, with the new seats and the new
Southern
flooring.
right fielder number 20, Cameron Bird.
I got one of the seats from the old seats in my office. My dad gave it to me as a Christmas present.
That's great.
Because they auctioned them off. The ones that were in good condition, they auctioned off.
I think I'm going to talk to Jim, see if I can get me one of these seats too. Also like the double camera view from CatEye Network.
Yeah, well.
I think one night, man, this place looked like Fenway Park, man.
The goal is to increase the production value year over year. And we've definitely done that. Basketball, the new up to 3 camera shoots this year. Baseball, 2 camera shoots, potentially 3 camera shoots as well.
Trying to see what we can do. Take it down on the road to Sanford next weekend.
Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. And if you're Corey here, don't try and do too much. Just try and get out of the game. Try and get your outs. 2 balls, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. That ball got away from Rodriguez, but.
So we're going to be known as the Bokeh Cats, right?
I will not be saying that. You can keep that one to yourself. 2-2. That one does skip away from Rodriguez and will allow Jalen Lucky to go to 2nd. That'll take away the double play ball. Waiting to see if they call that a wild pitch or pass ball. It's a wild pitch. So Lucky reached on a hit by pitch, goes to 2nd on a wild pitch. Corre in a 3-2 count. Grounded towards short. Charging to go to 3rd to get the lead runner. That's the correct decision. So fielder's choice, Bird is on, but Lucky is out, 1 away in the inning. Nice heads-up play by Jamie Villafane out there at short. And it's good to see that even though you've replaced everybody.
Kids playing baseball, got their head in the game.
Yeah, and the production defensively has not dropped off at all. The rare 6-5 put out to get Jalen Lucky. Here's Taj Bates with 1 away in the 7th.
He's struggling on the breaking ball. That's 79 degrees. I mean, 79 degrees. 79 miles
Listen, it's
an
not
hour.
even 79 degrees out here. 1-0. He goes back to the straight stuff and gets a swing and miss.
That's 85 degrees there.
Listen, I'm not looking
Hey,
forward
I got
to
bad eyes, man.
Listen, I'm not looking forward to when it's later in the year and it is up there in the 80s, 90s, and we're out here, or we'll be out in Sanford.
Won't be on the turf.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we won't be on the turf because we'll be in Sanford. Just one series left at the Jack after this weekend, and that is against Alabama State, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Corey goes with a fastball and gets the swing and miss by Bates, and now it's 2-2. I just think you stick with that. The breaking stuff ain't working. Stick with the hard stuff up and in. 2-2 to Bates. That time he went with the slider for the first time all game. Haven't seen him throw that one much, but it's outside. The velocity has definitely dropped off for Corey. Down to the low to mid 80s from the low 90s. That time grounded a third foul ball. Would have been a really tough play for Vasquez out there. We're on for a 6 o'clock start for game 2 of this doubleheader. We'll be right back here on the CatEye Network. Full count delivery from Corey. Fouled away. Softball dropped their weekend opener to Alabama State last night. They've also got a twin bill today as Taj Bates takes upstairs ball 4, 2 on, 1 out.
Got a pinch hitter here.
Dylan Jones should be batting, but it is not.
Pitching for the Jaguars, number 30, Grant Stewart.
Grant Stewart will bat for the Jags.
Pitching for the Jaguars.
Stewart will bat in the 6th spot. One away here in the 7th. Stewart fouls one back. Grant Stewart batting .240, 25 at-bats, 5 runs on 6 hits, 1 RBI. Has started 4 games so far this season of his 9 appearances. That one in the dirt, a ball and a strike. There's been too much of that from Corey in this inning. He's not challenging guys. He's just trying to get swings and misses. That one doesn't catch the outside corner, 2 balls and a strike. Corey up to 90 pitches right now. His season high is 101. Way upstairs, 3-1. And I would expect if Stewart gets on via the walk here, a mound visit, maybe just to calm him down. I don't think there's any danger with the score at 18-1 of Corey being taken out of the game. That one grooves it down the middle, ground ball to second. They just take the second out of the inning. The runners advance, now 2 away. That's all you need to do. Just put it on the ground. Your defense has been good enough behind you.
Pitch to contact.
Now Southern down to their last out in the ball game. It's going to be another pinch hitter. Oh, no, it is Xavier Bradley. My apologies. Bradley will hit for the 3rd time today. He's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks against Joel Corey. Fastball in the dirt. We thought the Wildcats were going to blow by their hits in a game record from last night of 19. They've only gotten 14 hits because after they got to 17, they really just took their foot off the gas. There's a strike.
Maybe
nothing.
Get that second game.
I was going to say nothing in the last 2 innings for. I don't put that on me. I'd like us to win, maybe not like this. In the dirt, 2 balls and a strike.
I was going to invite you to my open mic, but you got 2 games, so
yeah.
Get that opera voice you got.
Don't get to use it much anymore. Too busy doing this. 2-1 to Bradley. 2nd and 3rd. Bradley, excuse me, swing to first base. Martinez flips to Corey, and it's a no-hitter for Joel Corey.
With that, no-hitter
The Wildcats win the first game of the doubleheader, 18-1. The Wildcats all out of the dugout to mob their sophomore superstar.
I had fingers and toes crossed after the cameraman came and told us, you got a no-hitter. I was like, what? Let's be quiet, guy. You know, but, hey, great to see the Wildcats with a victory, and great to see a no-hitter here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark.
We asked Corey, I mean, we challenged him up in the booth today where you said you got to show us something. It hasn't been the best couple of weeks for him, and what a way to respond. I mean, just looked in command at all times, never tried to do too much. An unbelievable way to get back on track.
So, game one done. The Wildcats 18 runs on 14 hits, 1 error. Southern, 1 run, no hits, and 1 error. I'll get full line scores from you from a second. But Daryl, this is the first time you've been up with us in quite a while. Your thoughts on a cruising win for the Wildcats and a really good performance on the mound by Corey.
You know, I saw the Wildcats at the beginning of the season. They started slow. You know, you lost a 3-game series at the beginning of the season, and you played 500 baseball. But now you see the bats and you see kids finally understanding their role on the ball club. I mean, you see some guys like, you know, Escobar, you know, begin to take the lead. He's been here 3 or 4 years. So we see some veteran, you know, presence on the team. So I think right now the Cats are looking good.
Here is your official final line score. Bethune-Cookman, 18 runs on 14 hits. 1 error left, 6 on base. Southern, 1 run, no hits. 1 error, they left 3 on base. And the top 2 in the order, after going 7 for 7 last night, 0 for 6. That was big.
That's baseball for you. You know, one day you can be Jekyll, next day you can be Hyde.
Joel Corey, of course, gets the no-hit win. Miles Banks takes the loss. No save. Time of the ball game, 2 hours, 25 minutes. A gracious 2 hours, 25 minutes, Bryce, after we were out here for almost 4 hours last night.
And it certainly trended in the opposite direction. Got a little bit of help in those later innings, you know. Both sides kind of felt like they were ready to take a quick break before we come right back. But, I mean, man, as complete a win as you can get, and for the type of team, I know I've said this a lot, but for the type of team in Southern that has had your number, especially in tournament time, to get this kind of win, to show them that we'll win, whether it's last night we'll outslug you, tonight we'll outpitch you and outslug you. It's a really, really big springboard into the rest of the season against teams like this, and then, of course, in the tournament.
But job's not done, right? You have about 30-minute break, and you're coming back with another ball game.
6:15.
6:15. Well, thanks to Daryl Latil for joining us today. He's gone. He's got open mic night duties this evening, so the second game will just be Bryce and I. Sorry you got a bit of a dud there, but hey, I'd rather 18-1 Wildcats than 18-1 anybody else. I remember, Bryce, a doubleheader we had 2 years ago. You and I were up in the booth, and it was against Alabama State, and Alabama State run-ruled us twice.
Yep.
And that was a long day at the ballpark.
Yep. Good thing Daryl was here, I'll say that, to give us some stuff to talk about, give us some a chance to add another voice. So now I save some other takes for the night game, and I just hope it's a quick
We got
one.
any former players floating around?
Yeah, right. We got to try to round up, and we'll put a sign up back here. Anybody want to jump on the broadcast? Anybody want to be on the mic? But no, hoping we get a better one, a more compelling one maybe in the next one coming up. But hopefully it's still very much Wildcats on top in that one.
We'll hear from Coach Hernandez after the second game of this doubleheader. We'll be back in about 45 minutes for Bryce Winowski, Daryl Latil, and our entire CatEye Network crew here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. We'll see you for game 2 of the doubleheader coming up shortly. Final score of this one, Wildcats 18, Southern 1.